Most founders believe that their e-commerce brand fails because they chose the wrong product. They spend months and months and months hunting for the winning item, launching their store, and then watching the dashboard stay at zero. Crickets, nothing, no sales come through. And so after helping launch over 2,200 Shopify brands, I realized that the product itself, look, it's important, sure, but it's not the main problem that leads to failure. There are specific brutal mistakes that kill almost every new store before it's ever had the chance to scale. And nobody in the e-commerce space is actually talking about these specific facts. These are the same mistakes that cost me time, money, and truthfully almost destroyed my own brand. So if you're making these same mistakes, it's going to completely put your e-commerce journey in the toilet. For those that don't know, my name's Sasha, and for the last decade, I've been obsessed with helping founders build and grow successful e-commerce businesses. I've also grown 2 of my own 8-figure e-commerce brands. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 brutal lessons that I had to learn the hard way in the hopes that you don't have to learn them the hard way as well. So the first lesson is something that I've experienced with my own brand, Pursue. It's a premium reusable makeup remover, right? It's one of our most profitable products, and we've scaled this brand to over $100,000 per month. The question you might be asking is, okay, like, how did you do that with a simple $37 product? What we did is we made a buy 2, get 1 free offer, which changed the margins entirely, completely changed the whole entire business economics, and it made the company so much more money so that we could scale. The product itself, look, it's fantastic, but if we hadn't made that bold strategic move to give customers more of what they wanted, the brand would have died. And so in that lies the first lesson. Don't be afraid to give more if you want to build a strong relationship with your customers, because a strong bond between your brand and the customer ultimately increase the brand loyalty, the goodwill, and the sentiment for customers to come back and buy over and over again. Your customers know specifically what they want, right? And it can be incredibly costly if you don't listen and you try and just offer them other stuff. So the second lesson comes from a couple, clients of ours, Chris and Shell. They started a different e-commerce model, the Amazon model. They lost a lot of money. They got into a whole bunch of debt. They had PayPal holding a lot of cash, lots of issues with cash flow. Then they had a whole bunch of quality problems, unstable months, performance was up and down, and financial stress was very, very bad for them. Despite everything, they kept going, right? When most people would have quit. In fact, they simplified their whole lifestyle so they could focus on their e-commerce business. They stopped treating the e-commerce business as like a side hustle, something that they'll just put a little bit of time into. They committed more, right? Fully on one path. And eventually they found one angle in their marketing that exploded their business, and the next month they made over $200,000. Now they make over $500,000 a month. So the second lesson here is to keep going, especially when you're going through the darkest hours. Usually it means you're right on the edge of a breakthrough. Now the third lesson for me is most important, right? Especially for a new founder. And it reminds me a lot of a client of ours, Casey. She started a brand with us around about 12 months ago that sells conversation cards, like decks for couples to feel more connection. The idea came from a new partner who used these kind of like conversational prompts with her early in their relationship to improve communication and build more connection. This helped her understand things more deeply in the relationship in just a few days versus her ex-husband in years, right? She had the product idea after experiencing the pain in her own relationship. She combined that real emotional mission based on her personal experience with a willingness to learn business, learn marketing, media buying margins, and how to scale a company. And then she built the brand around improving the quality of couples' relationships, using her product as this communication mechanism. She went from 10K in her first month to making over 6 figures in a matter of 3 to 4 months later. And so the lesson here is to always build or solve a problem that's bigger than just you, because a business built around a problem you truly understand is often much stronger than one built around, a trend or a random opportunity. This approach also shifts your focus from Short-term gain to long-term impact, which naturally drives better decisions, deeper customer connection, and more impact for your customers. When your business is tied to a big mission, you're more likely to push through challenges, continuously improve the product, and think way further into the future beyond quick cash tomorrow, as well as the just no-brainer that attracts better opportunities, better partners, better talent, because people want to connect and be part of something meaningful. Now, let's move ahead to the fourth lesson. This one I see a lot in new clients when they come into the community. They come in and they start with a whole bunch of passion and enthusiasm. They're willing to do anything and everything. They stay up late, they start early, they execute quickly, and they fight hard, like as if they're almost like desperate to win, because sometimes they are, right? But as they start getting better and their business starts building, maybe 100K a month, 200K a month, 500K a month, they kind of slow down and they don't give their full 100%. The idea in this is you need to stay prepared, stay sharp, stay dangerous by staying prepared, being disciplined, because in the e-commerce market, you can't get comfortable for a moment. When you're building a brand, things are changing constantly. The environment shifts, platforms shift, creatives shift. What worked perhaps yesterday may not work tomorrow. And so the people, right, that scale are the ones that are proactive. They're always learning. They're always hungry. They're always on that bleeding edge of the next change. And it's very uncomfortable to stay there, but it's less uncomfortable than plateauing and then beginning to decline because you stop adapting to what the market wants and you think that, I guess this is good enough for now. So I always obsess with this myself, and it takes a great toll because you're always studying the next thing. I look at new trends. I'm always adapting my offers, looking for new softwares and tools and AIs, how I can bring those together to create the most efficiencies. And that's exactly what's helped me generate over $184 million in revenue for our clients, because I show them the small things that I find day by day by day by day, and I implement on my brands and then show them the result and the impact. Now, the fifth lesson is very close to my heart because it's something that I never had the chance to learn earlier on in my career. You see, I started as a pretty ordinary dude, right? Actually, probably less than ordinary. But my life took a pretty hard turn. I lost everything and I found myself in about $137,000 of debt. At that stage of my life, I had no mentor, no guidance, and no clear path forward. And it took me over a decade to get to where I am today, mainly because I had to figure everything out by myself. I had to make the decision first to change my life and then obsessively start learning via books, courses, YouTube videos, marketing, sales, content creation, finance. And I tested thousands of different ideas and business models, but I just kept moving forward. And over time, I realized that e-commerce specifically was the best vehicle for scale. And that's when I went all in. And it wasn't quick or easy. It took about 7 years of consistent effort, learning, failing before I was able to build multiple 8-figure e-commerce businesses. And looking back, the biggest reason that it took me that long is because I was doing it myself. And I was reading some books and I was trying to piece together, this puzzle. I didn't have the right people around me at all. I didn't have any mentors that could kind of compress the learning curve. And that's why one of the biggest lessons that I share now is to invest your time and attention into learning, to closing the ignorance gap. Surround yourself with people who are ahead of you. Network intentionally and make those people your mentors. Even today, I do that all the time. I pay Alex Hormozy and his team hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to workshop on my businesses so that I can consistently build and hear new perspectives and unlock new growth and not go through the trial and error and pain of doing it myself. Because the right insight at the right time in your business can save you years. If you want to move faster, don't try and figure everything out by yourself. Surround yourself with the best people, learn from them, and then let that guidance accelerate your path. So I've just walked you through the 5 lessons that took me and my clients years to figure out and millions of dollars of opportunity cost. Real failure, real pain, and real growth. Chris and Shell were drowning in debt before they found the one angle that took them to 200 and then 500K a month. Casey, very similar, turned a failed marriage into a $100,000 a month business. And I personally spent close to a decade figuring out everything that I just shared with you by myself. No mentor, no roadmap, nothing. And the only difference between where they started and where they are now is at some point they stopped guessing and they got the right eyes on their business to fix the problem. And that's exactly what my team does. We know what a broken brand looks like at $0 a month. And we also know exactly what needs to change to get that business to $100K per month and beyond. We know it because we've done it over and over in our own businesses, and we've also helped thousands of other businesses do the same thing in every niche, with every type of founder, in every type of market. So if you're sitting there thinking your brand has tons of potential, but you can't figure out why it's converting, maybe there's an underlying problem that you just can't seem to understand. Maybe it's a positioning problem, maybe it's a messaging problem, maybe it's something with your offer, but it's important that you fix the root cause, because all the other things you do on the surface don't move the needle. Then you can start to turn a profit. If you want us to look at your brand specifically, tell you what is holding you back, and then build a pathway to revenue and profit into the future, click the link in the description. There's a link there where you can find some time with my team, and we'll be happy to pull apart all of the issues and blockers in your brand and find a pathway where you can see real growth and real profit in the future. I'll see you soon.